Lachlan Macquarie, who was one of the best governors Australia had in its early years, was born on the island of Ulva in the Inner Hebrides in 1762. He came to New South Wales as governor, arriving on the 31st of December in 1809 and started his office 1st of January 1810. He was appointed governor to overcome the real problems that had developed in New South Wales. The existing regiment that was here, the New South Wales Corps, commonly known as the Rum Corps, had actually developed a monopoly on rum and weren't paying much attention to their military duties, much more concerned with making money. And so, to ensure that the new governor had a proper military support, they appointed a whole new regiment to come with him.
And they were Scottish Highlanders, the 73rd, formerly the 73rd Highland Regiment of Foot. And they left England in their kilts, and they had to change into the trousers of a British Line regiment when they got here.
Macquarie had a vision of what society could be like. He had clear ideas about what he wanted to do. When he arrived, the colony was really a dumping ground for convicts. When he left, he actually thought it was starting to become a real civil ordered society. In any civil ordered society, you had to have imposing public buildings. So he started on a building project, and when he actually left in the 1820s, his report to the British government said, "I have created 265 works of buildings in this colony. Bridges, public buildings like the convict barracks, the first hospital, the Mint building." A lot of people have said that Governor Macquarie liked having things named after him, and it's certainly recorded in the history books that if you wanted to get in his good books, you could name something after him. So we have Macquarie Street, Lake Macquarie, Macquarie Place, you name it, there's a Macquarie everywhere in New South Wales. Macquarie knew that when convicts had served their term, most of them wouldn't be going back to Britain, they'd be staying here. So he had long-term plans of what their life could be like. And he created what he called the emancipists, even freeing some of them before their term was up, so they could do useful things. But he caused a lot of dissent amongst the other people in the colony because they didn't really want to associate with ex-convicts. His architect, the person he actually appointed as an architect, was Francis Greenway, who had actually been transported to New South Wales as a forger. He was obviously very good at drawing. When Macquarie arrived in Sydney, there were problems with the financial system here. British currency, sterling, was the main thing, but it flowed out to pay for imports and food and supplies coming in. So Macquarie had to devise a currency which could stay in the colony. His solution was to take a Spanish silver dollar and punch the hole out of the middle, so to create two coins. One was called the Holy Dollar and the other one was called the Dump. Interestingly, today, the Holy Dollar is the sign of the Macquarie Bank. Elizabeth was Lachlan Macquarie's second wife. He married her in 1807 and she came out with him in 1809 to the colony. She was following the usual practice of governors' wives in doing all the vice-regal things, but she also took an interest in the welfare of the people here. She was partly instrumental in getting the Sydney Hospital, the first Sydney Hospital, set up in its Macquarie Street place. She took an interest in the orphans, and she took a very strong interest in the local Indigenous people as well. But she also had interest in gardening and planning. There is a road from Macquarie Street going down to Mrs. Macquarie's Point and Mrs. Macquarie's Chair, where she used to sit and watch the ships coming in and out of the harbour. Macquarie's last days here were what you might call fraught with complaints and accusations, and the British government actually sent out a Commissioner Bigg, to investigate Macquarie's governorship. And the report wasn't favourable, but all I can say is historians have restored Macquarie to his rightful place in Australian history. Lachlan Macquarie has been given the title of Father of Australia, and I think that's a very fair title. He clearly was a visionary. There were so many areas in which we left his stamp on Australia. He created a vision of what Australia could be like into the future.